This is from the only book I have published on cardboard. She wore Pensacola earrings. I found myself in Guadalajara by accident for the second time in my life. It is my firm belief that Guadalajara should also be the name of a dance. Do you do the Guadalajara? Well, I used to fairly frequently, but the dance center near me closed. Oh yes? Yes. It was a community-owned center, but the community dwindled away until just one man remained called Steve. One man is not enough to be considered a community, and the Steve-owned center is no name for a place, no name at all. I found a new place 3 miles from me, but longer if on the bus, which I am, having no car or roller skates. I tried one class there, but it wasn't the same. It was severely in need of renovation, and the floorboards squeaked with every handstand. Eventually, I decided to practice at home, using a cassette, but I shattered my favorite vase, a gift from my sister's ex-boyfriend, and have been less interested in it since then. Do you do the Guadalajara? No. I was in the wrong attire for Guadalajara that day, the place, not the fictional dance, and my knees had started to sweat minutes after stepping off the bus I had fallen asleep on for too long, dreaming of turtles and figs, no doubt. I rolled up each trouser leg while walking, to save time, inadvertently bumping into a local man cleaning his dog. The dog remained unbumped. The man wobbled a little, like a trumpet in a strong breeze. "Pendejo," he said. "Bless you," I said. The night before, and before that, I had been at one of Frankston Goldbert's notorious confusion parties. I knew Frankston from my days on the music scene. His band, Jeroboam, Keepsafe, and Pontiff, were being scouted left, right, and also center. Their after-show parties were notorious. However, their pre-show parties were legendary. But nothing compared to their mid-show parties, where they would simply cease playing their instruments and instead conduct soirees on stage, which could last up to 3 hours, often with a banqueting table and up to 46 guests. This infuriated a sizable proportion of the audience, while several came predominantly for this section. At this stage of their career, they were considered too experimental and were never signed, being deemed as commercially viable as a yawn. And so began Frankston's confusion parties, designed to confound and bewilder his guests. His most popular one featured a sauna constructed to look precisely like an igloo inside and out. His least popular surely being the time he posted a note on the door of the venue instructing guests they had arrived 1 week early and should come back the following Saturday. Those few who did were greeted with a note informing them that the party had been last week. While this lost him some acolytes, the purists could not have been more delighted. The theme of the latest party was Upside Down. It was held in a disused gymnasium with a padded floor, and guests were only allowed to eat and drink if hanging upside down from wooden bars dotted around the place. While messy at first, partygoers soon grew accustomed to the new eating and drinking methods as bands played confusing music while strapped to the ceiling. The most popular one was an Elvis Presley impersonator singing the lyrics of Elvis to the entirely wrong melody. "Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree." I finished what was left of my margarita and carefully climbed down from the ceiling bar. The theatre critic Ernest Fallender was there, as always, and was complaining that the previous party had been underwhelming, leaving him far less confused than he had expected. Frankston had overheard this while hanging from a beam above, and swiftly swooped down to inform Fallender that that had not been a party at all. Everybody there had been paid to be in attendance, with Fallender being the only unpaid attendee there. He then swung down and disappeared behind a Doric column, leaving Fallender wholly confused. I passed the various fruit stalls in the corridor, where a man was asking whether they had anything in a bigger colour. The last thing I recall is heading to the restrooms, where the men's was marked by the image of a hand spreading butter on a shoe, and the women's by that of a terrapin eating a bowler hat. Frankston really committed to the confusion. A code had to be entered to gain access to the facilities. Capital V, lowercase y, capital Y, lowercase v, capital V, lowercase v, 19 sixes, and a capital 5. The same code had to be entered to exit. One of the cubicle doors led not to a toilet, but to outside, where a man was waiting for me. He paid me $100 and drove me to the airport, where he told me my flight was waiting. In Guadalajara, I did not know whether the party was still going. I thought I would at least make the most of it, deciding to experiment with a new walking style, something that had remained unchanged with me for some years. Noticing that my arms would without fail swing alternately back and forth, I decided from now on they should swing together. I walked onwards. From confusion had come unity.